When it comes to journaling, I'm always looking for new and creative ways to actually journal or start a diary. And a lot of what I'm finding out is the most creative ways, or the ways that intrigue me, are a little bit unconventional, or at least by standards of somebody that has OCD. So all my OCD friends out there, just bear with me for a moment. So I was talking to one of my colleagues the other day, a friend of mine, and he's a musician. And I was talking to him about how I've been doing more journaling videos on the YouTube channel and that I've incorporated journaling more in my life than normal. And he was like, "Hey, have you ever heard of this front back journaling?" I don't really know what the name is, and he didn't either. And I tried to look it up, I couldn't find anything. But in a nutshell, it's this: you don't just write in a linear stance from the first page to the very back page. You're actually jumping from the front and the back on a given day, depending on a factor. I might use this if I'm having a bad day. I might go and record that day in the back of the book. But then if I'm having a good day, I might record that in the front of the book. Him as a musician, he writes lyrics that are very meaningful and impactful, but he also writes songs that are a little bit more on the comedic side. So what he does is puts his serious stuff in the back of his book, the more comedic stuff in the front of the book. So you could see there's a ton of different use cases for this if you're journaling or if you're doing a diary. So if you're doing a diary and you're recording that day to day, you can still date your entries. It's just they're not going to be in a chronological order at that point. You'd have to jump back and forth to get those entries, but it would showcase to you the difference between good days and bad days. So if you have a bunch of consecutive days in the front that are all representative of good days, but then you maybe have to jump to the back for one day or maybe even 2 days at a time, it's going to show you that life is more often than not better or typically in a good day. And I think that's something that is beneficial about this style of journaling, because we often tend to focus a lot more on the negative. It's human nature, it's kind of the thing that we do. But if we journaled in this way or created a diary in this sense, then we're going to see that hopefully, more often than not, we have good days rather than bad days. Think about it when we're recording the weather. At least where I am from, rain isn't something that we get every single day. But when it does rain, it feels like we're getting it all the time, when in fact, we have more dry days than we do wet days. So when you record that, you can actually see on paper that that is the truth, that's how it is. But it's because we focus on the days of rain, especially those of us that don't really care for the rain, and think there's more of them because we're concentrating on those more so than the good days with the sun being out. So anyhow, this was just a really cool technique that I wanted to share with you today. If you haven't heard of it, think about some ways you might could utilize this. Another one that I thought about doing was the front of the book being more like a cookbook and the back of the book being more for like sweets and baked goods, and then we kind of just meet in the middle. Something like that. I don't know. You can get as creative with this as you like, but I hope you found something useful out of today's video. And if you know what this type of journaling or diary entering is called, let us know in the comments section below. But again, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, be sure to create something new today.